Barnaby was a sweet soul who loved the quiet corners of my living room floor. But everything changed the moment a distant, high-pitched wail filled the air. His entire body began to tremble, as if an invisible wave had struck him.
I watched in pure confusion as he raced toward the safety of the bedroom.
I called his name softly, trying to bridge the gap of his sudden terror. His eyes were wide and frantic, staring at something I could not see. Then came the howl, a haunting sound that echoed through the entire house. It wasn't a normal bark, but a desperate cry for a ghost from his past. I knew then that I had to find the truth behind his mysterious fear.
My name is Tom, and I have spent 15 years as a city firefighter.
I am used to the noise and the chaos that comes with every single call. Saving lives is my job, but fostering dogs has always been my true passion. The station is a second home, and Barnaby was supposed to be safe here. My neighbor Alice often helps me keep a watchful eye on the new Fosters. I thought he was just a regular Beagle with a healthy love for his meals. He had a gentle nature that made everyone at the station fall in love. But the firehouse is a place where loud sirens are part of our routine. I never expected my line of work to become the source of his deepest pain. The first time I tried to reach him, he pulled back into the shadows. His shivering was so intense that I could feel the floorboards vibrate. I decided to just sit there, giving him the space he clearly needed. He wanted to trust me, but the terror in his heart was far too strong. I told him that he was safe now, that no harm would ever come to him. He didn't move an inch, his body locked in a state of total panic. I left a warm blanket by the bed, hoping he might find comfort there. For a split second, I thought I saw his tail move just a tiny bit. But the mystery of his fear was only just beginning to unfold. I tried playing soft music to drown out the sounds of the busy street. But even the gentlest songs couldn't soothe the storm inside of him. I brought out toys, hoping a little play might distract his mind.
Here you go, buddy. Want to play catch?
He didn't even look up, the ball rolling slowly past his front paws. I closed all the curtains, trying to create a cocoon of safety. Every little sound seemed to keep him on the edge of a breakdown. It felt like I was failing him, no matter how hard I tried to help. The more I offered comfort, the more he seemed to sink into despair. I realized that I couldn't fix what I didn't yet understand. His silence was louder than any howl, telling a story of lost hope. By the first day, the pattern of his fear was already clear to see. Every time an ambulance passed, he would dissolve into total panic.
On day 3, the incident happened right in the middle of the night.
His screams were so loud they seemed to vibrate through the very walls.
I was losing sleep, but my heart was breaking for this poor boy. By day 6, the situation had reached a point I could not ignore.
He was trying to dig his way out of a nightmare he couldn't escape. Every siren felt like a personal assault on his fragile spirit.
I began to notice that he only reacted to medical sirens, not police.
This specific trigger was the first real clue to his hidden past. The pressure mounted when Alice knocked gently on my front door.
No. Yeah.
She told me the neighbors were complaining about the constant noise. If the howling didn't stop soon, Barnaby would have to leave.
The threat of eviction was real, and time was running out for us.
I couldn't lose my home, but I couldn't give up on him either.
He seemed to sense the tension, shrinking further into himself.
Alice promised to help me keep things quiet for a few more days. I had to find a way to reach him before the final deadline. The weight of his future was resting squarely on my shoulders. It was 2 in the morning when I sat on the cold wooden floor. The house was silent, save for the rhythmic sound of his breathing.
I started talking to him about the calls I couldn't forget.
I told him that even rescuers feel helpless every now and then.
In the silence, I saw one white paw slide slowly out toward me.
It was the very first time he had chosen to close the distance. He rested his chin on the wood, looking up with tired brown eyes.
I felt a sudden rush of hope that we might finally find a way.
He let me touch him, and in that moment, our bond was truly born.
We sat together until the sun began to rise over the city roofs.
As the morning light grew stronger, I felt a strange lump on his neck.
It wasn't an injury, but something hidden deep within his leather collar. I carefully removed the worn leather to get a much better look. There was a secret pouch tucked away inside the dark inner lining. Barnaby watched me with a quiet intensity I had never seen before. I worked slowly, not wanting to damage whatever was hidden inside. My fingers brushed against a small, folded piece of yellowed paper. I realized this was the key to understanding everything he felt. The truth was finally here, and it was more moving than I imagined. The card was a medical alert for someone living with epilepsy.
It said that Barnaby was a trained dog who watched for seizures. The owner wrote that Barnaby was his only line of defense. He had been taught to howl whenever an emergency occurred.
The message said he saved his owner's life dozens of times.
But during the final seizure, the ambulance came too late.
He saved me so many times, I could not save him in the end.
Barnaby wasn't just afraid. He was carrying a heavy guilt.
The owner asked for Barnaby to find a life of true purpose.
He wanted his best friend to keep on saving lives every day. I finally understood the burden this brave dog was carrying.
The healing began with a simple red toy and some peanut butter.
I wanted to give him something to focus on during the noise.
He hesitated at first, his instinct for fear still very sharp.
But then he took a bite, choosing a tiny win over his terror.
I sat back and let him enjoy his prize in the quiet of the room. For the first time in days, his body was not shaking with fear. He was learning that he could be safe, even when the world was loud.
This small victory felt like a massive turning point for us both.
We were ready to face the future, one gentle step at a time. I made a phone call to the hospital mentioned on the small card.
The nurse confirmed the story of the brave golden retriever and his old friend.
Barnaby was a local hero who had lost his only sense of purpose. I knew that keeping him as a pet was not enough for his soul. I contacted a special group that trains therapy dogs for others.
He needed to be back in a hospital, helping people just like him.
The decision was difficult, but I knew it was the right choice for him.
I promised him that he would never have to be alone again. We walked out the door toward a future filled with light and hope. His journey was just starting, and I was so proud to be a part of it. "8 months had passed since Barnaby first walked into my life. He was no longer a dog of shadows, but a beacon of comfort. I visited him often to see the amazing work he was doing.
He had a way of knowing exactly who needed his help the most.
The sound of the ambulance sirens no longer made him hide.
Please remember that service animals need our care after a loss.
They have a unique bond that discerns a chance to heal and grow. Consider adopting a working breed dog to find your own hero.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of healing and love.